interesting tip from a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is, kind of isn't, right? Like, I guess at the end of the day, what he's saying is you got to have a safety net. Like, and if that is the form of an emergency fund, which he's been specific about, or insurance or something else, he's saying like you can go do the fun crap, but you got to have a safety net to start with. Otherwise, when it all falls over, or if it gets tough and that great business idea that you had takes slightly longer to make some money, you're not like, I have to pull pin and go back and do my other job.
Because, I mean, coming back to the Warren Buffett quote, if we were to kind of mix these together, being able to consistently do something, that might not be making any money. That might be like you running a business, you're pushing, you can see the key metrics, but if you don't have enough cash in the bank, it's going to get pretty gnarly at a certain point.
Welcome to Checks and Balances, brought to you by Partners Life. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And today we're yelling down the camera at you about 5 money tips from billionaires.
So, as I said, we're back in your life on this Friday morning to talk about 5 tips from billionaires. And Mike, that's not with an M, that's with a B.
Yeah, billionaires with a B. And quite often when we do these top 5 tips or, top 10 this or something like that, it's about really practical steps that you can take with your life. This one, while practical, is a little bit different. We're here to inspire you. We're here to make you get out of bed at 4 a.m. in the morning. Go to that 4:30 gym class, 5 a.m. gym class, though.
Yeah.
Definitely a 5 a.m. gym class. If you're going to a 4:30 gym class, you're nuts.
So let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. We're going with the best we've got. The man, the legend, the myth, the enigma, Warren Buffett.
R.I.P. Charlie Munger.
His tip, good investments take time. The quote, Michael, successful investing takes time, discipline, and patience. No matter how great the talent or effort, some things just take time. What do you reckon?
I like that. A lot of from, again, maybe not an inspirational standpoint, but from a practical standpoint, quite a lot of the time, we're just telling people to do nothing, just sit back, relax, put your hands up. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a combination though, right? Because
you got to do something to start.
You got to.
If I'm like, do nothing. I'm like, you're like, Mike, you inspired me to do F all. And now we're nowhere. Okay, that's different.
Yeah. It's like I heard a quote that hyper successful people have 3 main characteristics. I'll see if I can remember them off the top of my head.
A good memory.
They have the ability to apply themselves for long periods of time, so discipline. They have a God complex, so they think they deserve more than they actually than they've got at the moment, and they've got they feel like they're never going to be enough as well. So they've got that piece where maybe their parents didn't love them enough, which drives them to such successful outputs with those 3 characteristics combined.
The last one that you're talking about, I think generally speaking, it's something like the stat is out of the billionaires, 80% of them had an overbearing mother or no father. And that is it's part of the reason why Silicon Valley is in Silicon Valley, is because the guy who opened the first tech company just wanted to be near his mom. And she lived around the corner from Silicon Valley.
Don't we all just want to be near our mom?
Moving
on. Yeah, I think you've got to be like the right level of
crazy.
Screwed up. You don't want your kids to have too perfect of a childhood. You got to give them that. It's a very fine balancing. You don't want to screw them up too much. You don't want that tilting point where you can't return.
I guess a bit of it is a bit around the need, right? Like they've got to have the drive or a need to go out and get something. So Warren Buffett, famously a value investor, he is not buying the likes of GameStop, AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond. He buys value companies and holds them for a long time, right? So his risk profile and the way he approaches risk and decision-making is very structured.
My question to you, Mike, is, so good investments take time, right? The question is, how do you know you're backing the right horse? How do you know you're doing the right things opposed to just consistently doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, I guess that's probably different for each individual. Like if we're looking at our skill sets, okay, you wouldn't come to me asking for a managed fund to invest in because I don't know. You and I are potentially doing some property investing together. I work in property every single day. I can generally see what a good property investment looks like and what the quirks are, like the fringe cases. 90% of all property investments are basically the same. It's the things, it's that 10% which make them a really good investment or an okay investment or just a property that you're buying, right? So I think whatever your skill set is, if you can apply that to your investments, that's a really good way to kind of distinguish a good one from a bad one.
Cool. Okay. He also said, like, as one of the takeaway, it's never too late to start investing. Patience and long-term strategies are crucial. One of my favorite sayings at the moment, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
All right. Our next billionaire, Tom Monaghan, the founder of Domino's Pizza, his quote, reach your dreams with both short and long-term goals. Now, this is right up our alley.
So when it comes to a Friday night and you're selecting a pizza chain, do you go Domino's or what are you picking?
James, before we started this recording, I ate a pizza for breakfast. Albeit it was a breakfast pizza. So, big fan of pizza.
What's a breakfast pizza? Is there an egg in the middle? Or?
I actually don't know what distinguishes it from a normal pizza, just that it's sold at breakfast.
The fact is you bought it at 7 a.m. That's the only thing.
It's at a cafe, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking two different classes of shares there, my buddy. You got AAA rated, and at that point I'm going Sal's. I'm going 50-50 buffalo chicken and pepperoni from Sal's. But it's an expensive pizza. That clocks in at like $76.
It is expensive, yep.
And then for my, maybe some of my junk bonds, Domino's, Mr. Wedge, absolutely best pizza on the planet.
Mr. Wedge isn't a bad shout.
Carbs on top of the carbs, and then coated in aioli.
Yeah, breakfast pizza. Who would have thought? So the founder of Domino's said, "I don't think I'll ever achieve them all." Talking about the goals, I hope not. I don't like having to think about a day when I might stop having new ones. It's a very interesting mindset, Mike. And I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday. There's people who can aim for the stars, land on the moon, and be perfectly fine with that, and then keep setting more goals, more building. And there's the mentality of, I don't like failure. I never want to fail. I never want to set myself up to fail. So I'll set my goals to a point where I know I can achieve them, but which potentially doesn't stretch myself far enough.
Are you saying you do that?
No, I'm talking about there's two types of people.
I was like, I don't think you do that at all. I guess that's interesting, right? I think the thing around the goal setting though is, and what Mr. Domino's is saying, Mr. Wedge, what Mr. Wedge is saying is that actually like you can't just have these goals that are like, I want 15 Lamborghinis. You've got to have something that staggers you on the way there so you are knocking things down. Otherwise, what do we always say? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah, and this is a really good, like with paying down your mortgage, I think that's a really good example. Like if you make an extra payment of $100 a week, we've done the examples on a standard mortgage, another $100 a week, $200 a fortnight. You can pay off your mortgage like 3 years faster, save hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest. But people don't do that because they can't see the benefit. They go, I'm saving like 3 cents of interest. But that's where you can start to gamify it, right? And use like revolving credits or use offsets and go, how much extra am I going to try and save this year? And set a short-term goal where I'm going to save $10,000 extra this year. I'm going to slowly build it up. And then I'm going to have a good, I'm going to feel really good about it at the end. And then I'm going to build off the back of it from there.
What's one of your short-term goals and long-term goals that you've got at the moment?
Short-term goals is probably one of them is us settling this property in Upper Hart, which we'll talk about another day. Outside of that, I've definitely got some fitness goals. So I'm in the gym lifting heavy weights, trying to get strong, and I've got some goals I want to hit. There. Longer term goals, it's the very cheesy financial freedom piece, but very sincere. Getting to a point in life where I've always thought if I have a debt-free home, if I've got a couple $1 million in the bank, then I can have $100,000 passive income, tax-free, and make decisions from that point. And that's quite an interesting place to get to in life as well, because I'm working with a few of those people at the moment. They're like, what do I do now? Like I've clocked the game from a financial perspective.
Side quests.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because I would think that even though you didn't directly correlate the gym goal, the investment goal, and the long-term goal, like as you were saying it, they are all kind of on the path to do the same thing, which is to get you there. And argue that the gym goal, although you're talking about, I just want to lift some heavier weights, part of that is staying fit, staying sharp, staying motivated. And like the gym does that, right? It's really good for your mental health. So I would say that you have a mix of very short-term, short, medium, and long-term goals. And they're all kind of row in the same direction.
I don't want to get too distracted.
Mm.
Hypothetically, so we both go to the gym in the morning,
Yeah.
6 a.m.ers.
5 a.m.
If you stopped,
There's a difference.
if you stopped going for a period of time,
I have.
like say you didn't go for a month to the gym, right? Because we're talking about
I have. On holiday.
how did that impact you?
It's not great. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of it. I start to feel sluggish. I start to feel slow. And that's even while I'm on holiday. I'm not saying it doesn't like ruin my holiday or anything, but I will actively be looking for a gym to go to, like just to try and like do a workout or sweat or like get to that point, right? I don't think I've done it. I don't think I've not been to the gym in my daily routine apart from a holiday since I was like 20 or like 22.
So negative 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I don't know. So like honestly, how do I think it would affect me? I think it'd be horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like it.
Yeah,
at all.
that's the point I'm trying to get to as well, is that I think the mindset you have to apply to turning up every day and achieving something in the gym or applying it to your diet or to your relationships, like those small little wins and those consistencies and those mindset definitely then flow into the financial goals as well, right?
Yeah.
Because financial goals are just having the right information and being consistent for a long enough period of time.
Yeah. And I always think in the morning, because James said we're 6 a.m.ers, I'm a 5 a.m.er. And I always say like, because the alarm goes off and you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. And like everyone must think the same thing. Like, I don't want to get out of bed.
Every single day I have that conversation with myself.
And all I do now is I know how to get myself out of bed. To mentally do it. I think an hour forward and I'm still in bed and I'm awake and I'm like, I should have done that. Like I'm still in the same place. I'm just as tired or just as fresh. I should have just gone and done it. And that's like the trigger that I use that gets me out of bed.
Yeah. So goal setting is a very strong foundation to be able to get where you want to get to in life. And I think you can't just have it is quite interesting. I talk to people and just how all over the place they are, where they don't know what they want in life and they're just on autopilot going through the steps. It's your life.
Yeah.
Nobody's come to save you. Nobody's come to work it out. You've got to work this out. And if you do not have good short-term goals, good long-term goals, don't be surprised when 5-10 years roll by and you're like, I'm not happy where I am because this is on you.
100%.
So James, before we continue, I have got a special announcement.
Have you started sticking to your budget?
Absolutely not.
You finally made it as an after-hours DJ.
I wish. The thing is, we have got a brand new podcast partner, Partners Life.
You mean the award-winning insurance provider with over 300,000 Kiwis insured?
Yep, they're also a New Zealand-operated company and they are passionate about increasing financial literacy amongst Kiwis.
Sounds like a great match. Where can I learn more about them?
Check out their website in our show notes below.
Really thought DJ Magic Mike was going to be a global sensation for a second.
Our next billionaire, John Paul De Horia, who is actually the co-founder of the Patron Spirits Company. James, not a massive fan of Patron. I, on the other hand, love Cafe Patron XO, but the chili chocolate coffee one that they stopped, absolutely amazing.
Just enough to talk about everything. So his tip is about having an emergency fund. So the quote is, before investing or starting a company, make sure you have enough money saved for at least 6 months to pay bills or anything else that might come up financially. Interesting tip from a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is, kind of isn't, right? Like, I guess at the end of the day, what he's saying is you got to have a safety net. Like, and if that is the form of an emergency fund, which he's been specific about, or insurance or something else, he's saying like you can go do the fun crap, but you got to have a safety net to start with. Otherwise, when it all falls over, or if it gets tough and that great business idea that you had takes slightly longer to make some money, you're not like, I have to pull pin and go back and do my other job.
Because, I mean, coming back to the Warren Buffett quote, if we were to kind of mix these together, being able to consistently do something, that might not be making any money. That might be like you running a business, you're pushing, you can see the key metrics, but if you don't have enough cash in the bank, it's going to get pretty gnarly at a certain point.
We have some conversations around funding businesses and these types of problems that customers have. They want to be self-employed. They want to do this, and go out on their own. Every time I have these conversations, I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take to make money? They're like, oh, I think first month, probably nothing. And then second month, we'll click straight
We're
into it.
on.
And I'm like, no. I'm like, that is like, and I love the ambition. I love how bullish they are. But the reality is every time you go out on your own or make an investment, it always takes longer. It's always a bit tougher at the start than you actually think it's going to be.
Yeah. So the background here is this billionaire once lived out of his car, prioritizing saving before launching his successful ventures, which was the tequila company. So that's like a really big one, that he's been to that place and then built himself up. Mike, can I ask you a question about billionaires? There's kind of a mentality that it's not necessarily about like having the money. It's the pursuit of making the money and the person that you become. And the counterexample, which I might get a lot of heat about this, is trust fund children.
Yeah.
Like trust fund children who have the money are miserable. Like
Yes.
they can have anything, but yet they do not feel fulfilled because they haven't gone on the journey to build the wealth.
In my one experience of having a proper interaction with a trust fund child, like she doesn't have to work, like, just the world is just like somewhere she flies around on a whim. Yeah, absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
100%.
My question to you is, do you think if a billionaire lost all their money, they would get back to the point of being a billionaire?
Like,
say,
probably
not
not
lost-
a billionaire.
Not lost, but took it all.
Yeah,
took it all
I
away.
know what you're saying is like if you just deleted the money,
Yep.
would they start again and be a billionaire? I'm not sure they would go back to being a billionaire, but there is no doubt that they would come very close.
Yeah.
And the reason I say a billionaire is all of this requires quite a bit of luck at the same time, right? Like there are people who work just as hard, or work harder, are smarter, are in this field, this sort of do all the things, but to be a billionaire takes a pretty substantial amount of luck. And you'll see the fact that we haven't put Elon Musk on here. One, because he's a bit of a douche, and two, because his family money basically got him to be a billionaire straight off from the start. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe not a billionaire, but I can see what you're saying. I think they'd definitely be rich again.
Yeah, I do agree with you need some luck to become a billionaire. But get like a certain level of success.
That's what I'm saying. I know
Yeah.
the question you're asking, and I agree that
Yeah.
they're going to be successful no matter what.
Yeah. So whoever you are, you should have an emergency fund. If you are just kind of rolling by, hoping nothing bad goes out, assuming you'll make a profit in the second month, you are setting yourself up for failure. Mike, what have we got next?
All right, our next billionaire with a quote, Carlos Slim. He's a Mexican philanthropist, billionaire, obviously, investor. I think he started like a mobile phone or telecom company in Mexico off the top of my head. And then it spread through South America. He's got a lot of dollars. How many has he got?
95 billion.
I wonder how long it would take to spend that if you were clocking through, say, 10 million a year.
If it was in cash or
Yeah,
like
it was in
if it
cash.
was invested, because if it was invested, you'd never be able to spend it.
You wouldn't be spending fast enough.
No, unless
That's
you just bought super yachts every day.
There's only so many super yachts in the world.
Yeah.
With that, you could probably buy all the super yachts.
It's a good point. It's
Yeah.
a good point.
All right.
So what's his tip, Mike?
His is around failure, right? Failure is okay. So when we face our problems, they disappear. So learn from failure and let success be the silent incentive.
How do you deal with failure?
Not well. I don't like losing. It's not that I like winning. I just don't like losing. I hate the feeling of losing. So I take it personally. Yeah. So probably I don't really deal with it well. Mate, losing, criticism, constructive feedback, not my thing.
That's why you stay away from hand-eye sports. Savage. The man broke his nose playing cricket. How the hell do you even do that?
I wasn't even batting or bowling.
Yeah. He was in the outfield. Got hit by somebody's shoulder in the outfield. I think as a country, we probably don't accept, we don't try hard. Try hard enough. What's the right word?
I think
Put ourselves into situations where we're okay. Because, like the saying, you fail, you win or you learn. I think that's a really big one. And for you to all of these people who are billionaires and anybody who's ever been successful, you have to cop a hell of a lot of L's on the way to get to that outcome. And really, you only need to win once. You can lose 100 times and win once. And when you win so big that all those 100 losses don't matter.
Yeah. I actually really like the quote from Roger Federer. which is like around the statistics in his matches, where he's like, he was like, at one point was the best tennis player in the world. I've only ever won 54% of my shots.
Yeah.
Like I've lost every other point, right? That is incredible to think about failure as a learning and the ability to go, cool, just do it again. Just do it again, right? Like just detach yourself and do it again.
Yeah, because people do shut up shop. They go, I mean, like property investment or whatever it might be, going, I had a horrible experience. I'm not going to do this again. And the implications of not doing it again, like we talk about being lucky. Lucky is trying. You have to be in a position to get lucky. It's not like somebody's knocking on your door and giving you these opportunities. So the key point there is failure is a natural part of the journey towards success. Learning from mistakes is essential. Embrace setbacks as learning opportunities. I think that's probably a big point, Mike, is you can't just take the L and not deal with it. You have to reflect and go, what can I do better next time? Keep pushing towards your financial goals despite the failures.
100%. All right, so our next billionaire and last one for today, Chris Sacca, venture capital investor, company advisor, entrepreneur, lawyer. What's he got to say, James?
Yeah, he invests into companies like Twitter, Uber, Instagram, and
A2 Milk.
Also a cowboy as well.
Huh?
So his quote is, embrace being a cheapskate. Being a cheap bastard now means so much more freedom and choices later on. That's all about delayed gratification, right?
Yeah.
We are so bad at this that we want the thing now. We work hard. We deserve the nice car. We deserve the holiday. You don't deserve anything. You need to work. You need to consistently invest, deploy your capital, and enjoy it later on, which is what our boy Chris is saying.
Absolutely. I think the key one, or the key kind of like example of that, is the car, right? And like, is it, because if I said to you, like, where do you interact with the public most? You'd probably be like, I don't know, like when I go to the cafe to buy a coffee. It's when you're driving. And you want people to think you're successful. So you go buy a nice car on tick. It's not even yours. You don't even own it. And all it does is put you back further in your financial journey. I think that's a really important point here. It's that delayed gratification. And not just like, I'm not going to have a coffee today, but I don't care about looking successful. I'm just going to be successful.
Yeah. It's like when you have your goals, are your goals for what other people think of you? Or are your goals outward focused or inward focused? Are they about the people that you care about or not? Because the reality is, nobody cares what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you think you're more important in the world than you actually are, and you just need to run your own race and focus on what will give you fulfillment.
Yeah.
So frugality early on can lead to greater financial freedom in the future. So the key takeaway is identifying areas where you can cut costs and save money. This will provide more financial flexibility and opportunities later. So if, like the example of talking about like paying down the debt a little bit more each week, it's like a snowball effect, right? You can pay down that debt, you can buy some investment properties, long-term holds, end up in a far better place much earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is really important when you're thinking about all of these kind of quotes and, things that will drive you and trying to keep you on track to hit those goals is, you're not going to be successful right at the start. You might get lucky, you might not. It has been consistent over time, doing the small things, delaying gratification, accepting your failures, doing everything that they've said here, but just doing it well and doing it consistently.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this episode. Please subscribe, like, and review on the channel. Much love to Partners Life for sponsoring, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.